Hello and welcome to number one episode of the structured sessions for this podcast. Oh, I haven't even had a name for it yet, but I think I'll just somewhat go with the brand of empowering you to empower yourself, the podcast. And so today I'm here with William, and I'm just going to be asking some beautiful questions and lead us into helping you grow and empower yourself, and also learning a bit more about William, what he does and what he provides for this earth, and how he empowers himself in the world. So, William, I'd love to know, can you tell us a little bit about yourself? Who are you? Where are you from? And what do you
hmm
do or want to offer to this world?
So the easiest thing to start with is what I want to offer. So I I think like everyone, I want to be of service, and I want to, yeah, impact other people's lives in a positive way. That's like the most basic kind of fundamental thing that it is. Uh, I guess I'm doing that through a variety of means in terms of coaching and then creating various types of content, for lack of a more succinct word for it. But yeah, so I'm currently creating long form content on YouTube and also writing articles which I post on Facebook or Medium. Um, and it's all uh, all about self inquiry, because everything is about self inquiry and about coming into what I would call authentic alignment. Um, so connecting with your true essence and removing all of these veils that, yeah, you are likely unaware of.
Mm.
Um, I guess my pathway towards this began about 10 years ago, when I went to India for the first time and did a Vipassana 10-day silent meditation retreat. Um, and that really, yeah, kind of sent me in a different direction to the direction I'd been heading in previously.
So,
And I now think, sorry, go ahead.
yeah, I was just gonna ask, so where are you from originally? Where did you
I'm
start?
from England originally, from a place called Exeter, which is a city only because it has a cathedral in it. But it's a beautiful place. I'm so grateful to have come from there, because after I went to London when I was 19 years old, so then to kind of come back to Exeter, it was kind of like, wow, this is such an incredible place to have been raised. But that's something which only came to my awareness when I was maybe 30 years old or so, as opposed to when I was a kid. Um, yeah, and
And so yeah, that journey of shift. So who were you before you started stepping into this? This
yeah, it's a
empowering
great
others,
question.
and then yeah, what
Yeah.
sort of that change?
So, yeah, when I was a kid, I became very focused on performance, like performing in musicals and this kind of thing. But also that kind of bled into my life in terms of feeling like I needed to always be on and always be kind of creating the persona of myself that would please other people. And maybe that's common for performers. Maybe that is what makes someone a performer. I don't know. Um, and yeah, so when I went to London, I actually went to drama school to study musical theatre, and came out of that and then started kind of heading into stand-up comedy, which seems just like a completely different life. I think I've had at least two lives that I've lived since that time. Um, and also, I was really heavily addicted to marijuana as well. Like, it was a real problem in my life. And I tried at times to move myself away from it, but I was kind of trapped. I mean, I the way that I kind of view it now is that I was numbing myself from, whatever it was that I couldn't handle. And although the Vipassana meditation sent me on a tremendous shift, certainly in terms of expanding my mind, I now see that also as a numbing mechanism, like turning so heavily into spirituality, which I think is so common, especially for young men. I think young men that come in contact with spirituality that then kind of get, tunnel vision, laser focused on it. And yeah, and essentially are spiritually bypassing, are trying to remove themselves from the obstacles by hitting these states of bliss and ecstasy and things, when not being able to then bring that into real life again.
Mm. So what I'm hearing is sort of avoiding the painful parts of life and just focusing on wanting to be in bliss all the time.
Yeah, I mean, so again, the way that I see it is that we all experience trauma to some degree from our childhood. We're all trying to process that somehow, and we're all ultimately seeking love through every action that we do.
Mm.
And we all use different mechanisms to numb ourselves to what's going on inside of us. So for some people, that'll be like diving into work and becoming a workaholic. It's always in some form of addiction, but
Yeah,
it's just in different formats. Um, and
100%. I agree. So,
yeah,
so for me, like everything is an addiction. Like I literally am addicted to breathing. Like I don't want to stop breathing, you know. Like if I pull it right back, and then I'm
yeah.
somewhat addicted to eating, and I'm like, there's somewhat needs, but at the same time, yeah, there's all these different levels of addiction. It's just about like deciding what you want to be a positive addiction in your life. So for me is like serving others now and um and personal development and my growth is like my new addiction from
Mm-hmm.
smoking weed and these things as well. So yeah, I think
Mm-hmm.
that's just this beautiful perspective on addictions, and it's beautiful that you have that story to share. So just to pull it back to what we're discussing a little bit more is
Mm-hmm.
so you were, from what I heard, you were this artist and kind of just creating and kind of somewhat not addicted, but stuck in this process of weed. And then you went on this Vipassana, and that was kind of this shift into spirituality. And then, if I'm correct, then the spirituality is has now shifted more into to sort of coaching and guidance and empowering others.
Yeah, so there's one kind of key step that I've missed out in that story, which is uh, so I dove really deep into Vipassana for like 7 years. It became my life. Like I was sitting as many courses as I could feasibly do without breaking my mind, um, and also spent a few years volunteering at these centers as well, like helping run the centers because they're all volunteer led. And then at the end of 2019, I sat was like one of the most profound experiences of my life. It was incredibly beautiful because you got to essentially, a friend of mine messaged me at the end of it and he was like, "How was it?" And I just said, "It was just life." Like you were able to see all the ebbs and flows, all the ups and downs, this wave that came over you of these emotions that would come and go and overwhelm and all of this kind of thing. And it was fascinating. I mean, I spent 16 hours a day sitting in a room that's like big enough to put a cushion in, and then you close the door and you just sat in darkness by yourself. I was there for about 16 hours a day, I think, for 45 days. Um, and
What do you think?
there was something that was so beautiful. Mhm.
I don't know. Continue. Something that was so beautiful.
There was something so beautiful about that experience. And when the course came to an end, you're able to then interact with other people, and you've literally spent 45 days looking at your feet as well. Like when you go out into, there are like outdoor areas to walk around and things, but the idea is that you're trying to stay within yourself. So you don't raise your eyes to look at squirrels or to look at the sun or to look at the stars or anything like that. You're literally just kind of focusing on yourself the entire time. So to come out of that and then to start having conversations with people, I had the first conversation I had lasted about 20 minutes. And after that, I was pretty exhausted, like from just having no exposure to that. And I was like, okay, I think I'm going to go and take some rest now. And as I went back to my room, somebody else approached me who I knew and started asking me how was my experience. And I was like, oh shit, I have nothing else to share. I've said everything that I need to say. I could go for another 45 days now without speaking to anyone. So I could do more processing and dive deeper and deeper into myself, because that was the ultimate goal, to kind of find this, I don't know, pure center of myself or something. I think a lot of spirituality, at least from where I was coming at it from at that point, was focused on how do I make myself good.
Interesting. And so what do you think would be the biggest takeaway that you gained from those 7 years?
The biggest thing is awareness. Like that is the thing which that's absolutely the biggest takeaway that I've got from meditation, is the level of awareness that I have in terms of everything that's going on inside of me. And that's developed over time. But yeah, that I think that awareness is the most essential thing that we need, because awareness leads to clarity, and then that just turns into a circle. So it goes from awareness to clarity to awareness to clarity to awareness to clarity. And it's like this rising circle that's just kind of propelling you into just having a much better understanding of yourself. And I guess this is what I'm ultimately interested in, is what is it to be a human? Because they've, again, I still haven't quite got to the missing piece in terms of my story, which is after that 45-day meditation retreat, I was like, well, the only logical next step for me is to become a monk, is to ordain and to remove myself from society altogether, which I essentially had been doing more and more over those 7 years. I was especially ideologically heavily removed from societal norms. And so I went to South America for a few months. And the idea was that I would go there for a few months of traveling and then head to India or Sri Lanka and find these groups which I'd been suggested to, which would essentially allow me to live life as a monk. And when I was in South America, I was walking around with my backpack and hitchhiking and living in a tent for the overwhelming majority of the time, maybe all of the time, and meditating for like 7 hours a day in like the furthest out into like the Patagonian wilderness that I could get, trying to get the hell away from human beings. And no matter how far out I went, somebody would turn up with a boombox and play like the 3 songs which existed in South America. And I was just like, this is making me so crazy. Like, I hate human beings. And I really kind of feel like I'm responsible for COVID, because I had I think because of the clarity of my mind that had come from all of these years, and particularly that 45-day meditation retreat, the clarity of mind that I had, and then me asking to the universe super fucking clearly, I want to get the fuck away from humans. I want to have a hermitage where I'm uninterrupted. And then COVID happened, and I ended up being in a meditation center in the middle of the Peruvian desert by myself for 7 months.
Oh wow. Yeah, I guess it's one of those things where it's like you can be careful to what you ask for.
Absolutely, absolutely. And it was kind of bliss for the first 6 weeks or so. I got there and it was just totally silent. It was this octagonal building in the middle of the deadest land I've ever seen, and then encirculated by mountains. And it literally looked like a Mars bunker or something. It looked like something otherworldly. And it was so quiet there. And yeah, for the first 6 weeks, I just dove into doing, again, 7 hours of meditation a day and wandering the land and climbing the mountains and things like this. And literally just spending my time, as I had done for the last like 2 years at that point, of just eating, drinking, meditating, bathing, and sleeping.
Mm.
Oh, and walking. Like there was really nothing more to my life than that. I'd stopped listening to music, watching films, watching TV, playing music, even reading. I'd stopped reading. I was literally just meditating and walking. And after 6 weeks, I guess I realized that it was a situation of which I had no control over. And that was the first time in my life where I was like, oh, I don't have complete control over my destiny. And so, yeah, so I then kind of crashed into a mental unraveling, mental breakdown, or I don't know, whatever you want to call it. Um, and yeah, and then that led into 3 years of existential and suicidal depression.
Yeah, wow. Okay. Yeah. And so that then shifted into wanting to share your offering of support and empowerment to the world. So what was, just re-clarify now, what is your offer that has come out of that that you're offering to the world?
So, my offer.
Like
So,
what?
yeah, I want to be of service to people to help them learn how to navigate in a way that will absolutely serve what is important to them.
Mhm.
To help them first come in contact with that, to bring awareness to it, and then just to continue to dive deeper and deeper into it whilst removing the old stories which aren't serving them so they can actually reach where they're wanting to reach without feeling the limitations that they've imposed upon themselves.
Powerful. So I'm hearing you're helping people to break through their limitations and align themselves with their truth and their desires.
Yeah, yeah, I think that again, from whatever we've experienced in childhood, we've shut down so many aspects of ourselves
Mm.
that we're, I think the majority of us are afraid to actually reach for what it is that we want. And so, in order to stay safe, we compromise. And that leads to severe dissatisfaction as
Mm.
time passes. And I think that COVID was really beneficial in this way, in that it woke a lot of people up to realizing, this life actually doesn't serve me. And I don't know, I kind of feel like COVID was kind of one of the spiritual awakenings of our age, of this kind of moment that happened to the entire world. And it felt like, I don't know, maybe this is just from being in spiritual circles and like uh, kind of spending time with watching spiritual media at the time and things. But maybe this has always been the case. But but yeah, when I kind of came in contact with spirituality, there was all of this talk of, oh yeah, there's a big spiritual kind of wake up that's going to happen really soon, and we're kind of ramping up to it. And yeah, I don't know. It feels like COVID may have been part of that. I don't know.
Yeah,
What
100%.
do you think?
Um, I would say yes for me. So I had my spiritual awakening. Can't remember the exact timeline, but it was somewhere. It was after COVID. Yeah, it was somewhere just after COVID. I think about a year later, was when I really was like stepping into this, like, you could call it psychosis or you could call it seeing the world in such a different way. And there was this one point where I was just like standing on this hill looking out over this city. I was like, it's time to wake up. Waking has begun. And it was just, yeah, it was hilarious. Looking back on it, funny experience. But yeah, I really believe that as well. Like one of the things that I teach is that sickness is basically one frequency coming in contact with another frequency and it getting shaken up by this new frequency and then shifting into the new frequency. So if you have two frequencies that collide
Yeah.
on the planet, then the old frequency is gonna like die and is gonna get really shaken up. And that was one of the main things that happened when I actually got COVID. Was like literally at one point was like, and it's you could see it as this like a sickness is a bad thing, but in ways is this potential for us to transform into something new.
Absolutely. Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
so yeah, I believe it was powerful and a expansive moment in our time.
Yeah, I just want to touch on what you mentioned there. Like, that is something which has become so clear to me recently, is this idea that all of these things are essential for our growth. Like, I mean, even, yeah, like literally just after I came out of that kind of 3 years of depression and stuff, I could see how grateful I was for having that experience. And yeah, I had this conversation with my girlfriend recently because we're talking about the potentiality of having children and this kind of thing. And we were talking about depression and would you, if you could, uh, map the genetics of your child before it was born, would you remove the possibility for it to experience depression? Because both me and my girlfriend have both gone through depression at various times, and I I am who I am because of it. And so I would never remove that from my experience. And it's helped me to connect with so many people on such a deeper level than I was previously. And she had a similar experience, like it helped her to learn and grow. And
Mm.
yet there's this kind of desire to shelter children from bad experiences, but, or yeah, from what we consider bad experiences. But maybe, yeah, maybe I should just remove that title bad and put down core experiences. Like, these are things that shake you to your core and make you have to look at that core and go, oh, who am I? What's actually going on inside of here? And how do I bring that out into my life more? And I think this is why the words authentic alignment really kind of resonate for me in this space, because it's like that's what you're trying to do. You're trying to come in contact with what's going on inside and then bring that out into the world, to share that instead of living in this persona that you think is going to please somebody, or doing something that you think is going to get you love, which is just kind of
Mhm.
totally misguided or not really the optimal way to get it. Like, I I have had, because I spent all of these years doing meditation and everything. I didn't dive into work and creating, a business or really creating a career in any sense. And there's a part of me that has regret for that, because I would have been able to have built up money. And one of my kind of key motivators for doing that was like, well, maybe if I had a career, then maybe I would be more eligible for to meet a partner. Because again, I think everything is fundamentally about us trying to get love. But it seemed like such a indirect way to try and find love. To be like, oh, I'm going to work on myself in this way, and in the hope that love will find me, even though that's something which doesn't even resonate with me.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. Yeah, there's a whole portal that I could speak on that for hours with you. But I'd love to continue on with this sort of frame that I've created here. So, what does empowerment mean to you in simple terms?
Giving people the freedom to move through life that truly resonates with them,
Mm,
that isn't based upon others, but based upon themselves. We can only fully serve others if we're fully serving ourselves. Like, this is kind of trite, but the idea of a full cup, and once the cup is full, it then starts spilling over the top, and that's how you can serve others. I spent after that experience in Peru, I came back to London and then started going into healthcare. So I worked in like the biggest hospital in England, on the emergency floor, and then worked for a year in a care home taking care of people with dementia. But the thing is that my cup was so empty. It had like a drop or two in it, and yet I was trying to serve other people because I knew that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to do something that I could feel that was tangible to me. And yet I was coming from this place of absolute depletion, and then trying to serve people, and it was just, just destroying my mental health at the same time, because I was becoming so overwhelmed and distressed myself from experiencing other people that were so overwhelmed and distressed.
Mm, for sure. So just to clarify as well, what did no, thank you. I love the stories, but I'm also it's like trying to keep the structure and the time frame. I love it. So what does the personal empowerment mean to you?
Sorry, can you say again?
A personal empowerment. So personally.
What is personal empowerment?
Mm,
I suppose to trust yourself,
mm,
to do things based on what you know to be true instead of what others tell you to be true.
yeah.
I think it all comes down to, I mean, this is heavily influenced by my years doing Vipassana, but ultimately the body tells us everything. If we're in contact with what's going on in the body, because body and mind are totally intertwined, they're one. We've just given them two words. um, yeah. Um,
And would you say like I'm hearing a bit of not like if you're standing in your truth and you're not allowing other people's truths to affect your truth, just standing in your own kind of decision.
I think we're always going to be influenced by everyone, and even if it's somebody that we totally that says every word that comes out of their mouth, we're just like that's complete bollocks. Like it's still influencing us in a way. It's still leading us towards whatever it is that is our current ideology.
Would you
Um,
say that you have a choice in how it affects you though?
that's an interesting question. Um, to a degree, yeah. I don't think that. Um, yeah, I don't agree in determinism necessarily, and also, I mean, it depends. It depends how much awareness you have ultimately. If you have the awareness to be able to observe something for what it is, instead of getting lost in a story about what you kind of perceive it to be, then you have a moment to observe something and then take action. But
Mhm.
I think the majority of the time, for most people, and I'd say maybe even the majority of the time for myself as well, I'm not really sure, but a lot of blind reaction is happening. We're doing things without any consideration based on, yeah, the traumas or the experience that we've gone through, which have informed who we are in this moment. So
Yeah.
having awareness is like this superpower, because it then allows you to step back to be like this third person observer, to see what's actually going on the fundamental level. So instead of being lost in a story of like, oh, this person did this to me, oh, da 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 da, instead it's stepping back and going, oh, I'm experiencing anger. And the moment that you're able to see it for what it is, the story then drops away. And it may kind of fight back to kind of grab the attention again, but provided that you have awareness, you can keep that story at bay and just be like, no, no, I understand you're a story, but I'm not going to engage with you anymore, because I know that that doesn't serve me in this moment. It doesn't serve this other person, and it doesn't serve the relationship between the two of us.
I'm
Well,
loving it. There's something really big on my back. Did you see it?
oh gosh, yeah, yeah,
What
yeah,
is it?
that's huge.
What is it?
I don't know. It's some sort of beetle, I think. Oh, it looks really lovely. I could see deep concern in your eyes. I was like, is
I'm
there
just
some
like,
sort of creature there?
yeah, I just felt this big doof on my back, and I was like, okay, I'm listening to this conversation, but I'm also like, what just landed on me?
Yeah,
Ah,
I think you're fine. I think it's just a beetle that,
no,
you know,
no,
it's
no.
just curious.
I'm comfortable with it. Like I know some people would be kicking and screaming right now, so I'm comfortable with it. But I'm also aware of like I'm in the jungle with dangerous animals, so it does
Mm,
pay to notice what has landed on me.
yeah, yeah.
So perfect. So I'm kind of hearing that your perception here on personal empowerment in a way is your key piece to you is awareness. Without being determinate, would you say that's relevant?
Without being determinate, how do you mean?
Well, you were saying that you don't like to be, was it determinate or to,
Deterministic. It's the idea that we don't have free will.
yeah, yeah,
Um,
exactly.
uh, I think, yeah, I don't think I do agree with determinism because I think that we do, because that goes against the idea of empowerment. Empowerment is the idea that we are accountable, and accountability is key for doing anything that you want to do in your life. And action is the thing which is going to change everything for you. So if you're willing to start taking an action differently to the life that you've been living, that's how you move your life in a different direction.
Mm.
And maybe that isn't the exact direction that you want to go in, but by taking the action, you've got somewhere, and then you can go, oh, okay, I now need to take a different action to kind of move myself further in line with this. And again, maybe that move you. And that's the way that we can kind of, yeah, I don't know, expand, grow, all of that stuff.
Beautiful. All right, so my next beautiful question for you is, where's somewhere you're currently allowing something to affect you negatively in business, in relationships, or in reaching your goals?
Can you ask the question again? Where's something that allows you to?
Where's something in your life, in business, relationships, or reaching your goals, affecting you in a negative way?
Oh,
Someone's actions
I
or
don't really see it. Oh, no, I don't really kind of view things like that. Like, I don't think that I think of things as being negative. Like, certainly there are things which I find overwhelming, but then that's just kind of kicking in a shitload of anxiety, which I know is the beginning of a process of something. Like, that's the thing which is going to lead me towards something. And
yeah,
I
100%.
don't,
So it sounds like
I don't think I, sorry.
I was just going to say it sounds like you're really on sort of aware of that already. It's like shifting your perspective on what's negative and positive. So that's really beautiful. And then so that because you're really aware of that, I'm thinking that another great question would be more like you have a goal. We'll somewhat have goals in life. What is something outside of yourself that you perceive is preventing you or slowing
Uh,
you?
okay, so I mean, I guess the biggest thing is to reach my audience. That's really the thing which I'm currently trying to do. Um, I've just started YouTube within the last couple of months, um, doing it regularly, and I've only just joined social media for the first time in about a decade, jumping back onto Facebook, and yeah, but again, it's something which is beyond my control, and I understand is going to take time, and I want to invest in that, and I'm in this for the long game. I'm not trying to do something quickly or anything like that. Like if it came quick, then sure. But I also think that it's important to take all of the steps to get somewhere. Instead of jumping to the top, you're way more likely to fall back down because you don't know, you have no structure beneath you. So I think everything has its time and its place.
Beautiful. So, is there anywhere that you would like to evolve yourself more where you're feeling held back? where you would like to evolve, where you would like to expand your capacity. So it might be in reaching your audience.
So I don't feel held back. I feel like I know the things which I want to work on, and so I'm actively working on them. So one big thing is listening. I think that's something which I have tremendous capacity for, but certainly, particularly in the role of conversing with friends or with my girlfriend, like outside of the kind of professional realm. um, yeah, outside of the professional realm, I think that I can slip into. Oh, I think it's gone. Yeah, I can definitely slip into just kind of getting lost in myself and in my process because I find conversing with another person so beneficial for me to get clarity about what's going on inside my head, to kind of put it into these kind of complete structures instead of having these kind of various clouds there. And yeah, I definitely feel like there's this been awareness recently that that is potentially selfish, or that it is somewhat selfish. And so that's something which I want to work on. But I wouldn't say that there's barriers there. I'd say that I now have awareness, and awareness is the first step in solving a problem.
100%. And so that's what these questions were somewhat designed uh for you to do for you, is to bring you awareness of where something was, where you're perceiving something is, yeah, limiting you, like an outside circumstance. And
There's nothing outside which is limiting me. Everything is internal that's limiting me. Like it's my own beliefs that are holding me back from doing anything, and that is true for everyone. Like we are capable, we are limitless. I absolutely believe that we're limitless, and if we just yeah bring awareness to these things and start working on them, we can do literally anything. Obviously within the realms of physics, but we have everything at our fingertips, especially nowadays.
mm, I do agree 100%. Um, so, oh, here he is.
I think he really likes you.
I agree. He's a very interesting fella. It's like the scarab beetles from the Egyptian
Oh,
things. Anyway, buddy, you're messing with the time frame here. Off you hop. Come on, you've had enough Elijah time. Off, off you hop. So my question would be then is um if someone was watching this and feeling stuck or powerless, what's one piece of advice you would give them?
make a list of what's important to you. Try and work out what your values are. Try by writing things down or by speaking them aloud to another human being, we're making our thoughts physical. And once they're physical, we can change them. But if they're thoughts, then they're these unclear pictures in our minds. By creating something physical, it makes it concrete, and we can then refine it and get more and more clarity around it. And again, going back to this idea of this perfect loop, once we have that clarity, we then have awareness of how it is that we can take steps towards that, or at least we have the clarity to know where it is that we want to go. And then we can ask for help to ask us for which steps we could take to get there. And then that leads to action. And action, as I've said before, is the change agent for your life. That's the thing which is
Beautiful.
going to ultimately get you towards where you want to go.
Thank you. And what's one powerful lesson that you've learned that they might want to hear? So what's one powerful lesson from your life that you've learned?
The first thing that came to mind was yeah, and perhaps I've said this in kind of different formats in this conversation already, but um, on the last meditation retreat that I went to, which was uh, maybe in August last year, um, I came to the realization that I'm so grateful for everything that my parents did. Like, I'm grateful that they weren't any better at being parents than they were, because if they'd done anything differently, I wouldn't be who I am. And I'm fucking in love with who I am. Like, there are times, obviously, when I'm not. There are times when anxiety, overwhelms me, and like I'm scared as shit by the inner critic, and like I'm being like my head is being pushed to the curb and all that kind of stuff. Um, but yeah, like and
So the
yeah,
message I'm hearing, to sort of refine it down a bit, is simply appreciate what you've been through or appreciate what you're going through. Or
everything happens because it has to happen. We need to experience all of our experiences in life. They are what shape us. So your biggest weakness is also your greatest strength. All of these things that have impacted you, we have stories around them. And those stories could be, I'm the victim, this happened to me, whatever. But going back to what I believe is the core of this, is that the empowering thing is to reframe that, is to shift the way that you're perceiving it in a way that's actually going to serve you and allow you to serve your future self. Because that's really the best thing that we can do, is to live in service of ourselves in 10 years' time, because then we've got this beautiful thing of just love going forwards and gratitude going backwards in time.
yep,
And yeah,
thank you. And so just quickly, what platforms are you on and how could people reach you?
so I'm on YouTube under William Sidgwick, which is my name. I'm also on Facebook, again, under William Sidgwick, which is my name. And then my website is followwhatresonates.com. I'm also on medium.com, but I'm not really sure how much people look at that. But that has kind of a number of my kind of longer articles, all in a kind of succinct way to view it, as opposed to Facebook, which is potentially just like a scrolling mirage of some sort.
So I will be putting all of those down in the comments as well, for people to connect to so they can watch this. And yeah, if you're wanting to tap into your alignment and your truth and to unlimit yourself even more, this man is here. So thank you for being.
Thank you for this opportunity, Elijah. This has been great. Yeah,
That's been
I've
great
really
fun.
enjoyed this time that we've spent.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for watching this.